And welcome once again to another episode of S2E9 Productions Presents
J&M, Solve the World. I am James.
And I am Matt. And with us is our illustrious guest, Andrew.
Hello, how we doing? Thank you. Can't forget the crickets.
And for the first time on the podcast, somebody that I've known for many years, the one person I have to thank for seeing Pantera for the first time.
There you go.
Marlin Viets.
Yeah.
Well,
Hello.
Hello.
I feel lucky. You get the applause. I get the crickets.
Just wait.
It's kind of a standing thing now. You know, I get the crickets. Yeah, I like it though.
So we are going to talk about something a little serious, but because...
We're kind of starting a trend here.
Yes.
Last podcast, we had Amanda telling her amazing story of weight loss.
Yes.
And
This
Marlin's got an amazing story to tell here.
Yep. And because we are such pricks, we are going to make fun and make jokes where we can. So, Marlin.
Yes.
And you're on.
Let's start a little background. You graduated from Barfalo when?
1990.
1990. Yeah, he's older.
You're older than I am.
Well,
He's not as old as me, though.
no.
85 BHS.
Now,
That's for Oliver.
I first met Merle through He Who Shall Not Be Named when we all worked at Sonic when I was in high school. And Merle had, what was that, a white Grand Prix?
Yep.
With the big stereo in it. And I mean, that was the big thing back then. Everybody had the house speakers in the back seat. Only Merle had like the professional done. What size speakers did you have?
Had 212 subs.
212s in the trunk, and that was
Change out all my speakers inside.
yeah. I mean, nobody else had that in Buffalo.
What stereo head did you have?
Pioneer.
Pioneer? Yep.
Always did Pioneer.
Yeah.
Okay. And you are a licensed, degreed funeral director.
Yeah, sort of. I took a class for funeral directing.
Okay.
But my main degree is mortuary embalming.
Okay. We may need to stretch. There we go.
That better.
Okay. So, what was it, 6 months ago?
Yep. August 11th.
Okay. So, if you would, walk us through that day.
Went to work. Normal day. Always took my lunch at around 10:30, and had went and got was in my truck, went and got it serviced, was done in time. I thought, well, I'll go get my motorcycle. Went home, got my motorcycle, cruised around a little bit, and decided I need to get gas because I was going to plan on riding after work. And stopped at Casey's and got some gas and went in. I was smoking at the time then. I grabbed me a pack of cigarettes and a Dr. Pepper and went to leave. Was going back down 65, hit 32 Junction and turned right. And right when you're in line with the entrance to go into Signal on that side, a gentleman came in and hit me on my left side, and I went flying. And landed and broke my femur, my tibia, and the bone went through the heel of my foot.
And okay. So, our tens of listeners are going to ask, were you wearing a helmet?
No.
What was your first instinct?
As soon as I hit, I came up with my hands over my head and covered up, and then I landed. I just waited to either hit a pole or a sign, or it just knocked me out. I thought I was done for.
So, other than driving a Chevy, you have no other brain injuries?
Nope.
Yeah, I had to go there. I'm a
Well,
diehard
you know.
Ford fan through and through. So, okay, walk us through, if you would, what happened like immediately afterwards.
Immediately afterwards, I opened my eyes up. I just finally got stopped, and I was off in the dirt and the gravel there in Signal's parking lot, and I opened my eyes, and I could look down, I could see Meeks and going down east on 32, and I look up, and I could see my femur sticking out of my leg, and I sat there and I tapped it, and I'm like, oh, that's not good. And I didn't know what other damage I had. I couldn't feel anything. I was in shock at the time, but I remember everything like it was yesterday.
So the car basically, the bumper hits you right in the leg in the side of the bike.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And then all I remember is I had probably 20 or 30 people around me. It felt like it may not have been that many, but there's people around me. And I had my glasses broke when I hit, and I had a cut here, and I was bleeding. And that was about the only other thing, except I had some road rash on my leg. But a bunch of people came up to me, and they were holding stuff against my head because they didn't know how bad it was.
Right.
Asked me what I needed to do, what they need to get a hold of anybody. I told them I wanted to get a hold of my daughter, my father, and I need somebody to call work.
Right.
Because
I'm going to be a little late.
I was 15 to 10 minutes away from having to be back at work.
Right.
A lady that I knew was there, and she said, well, we don't know any of those numbers. Do you know them right off? And I rattled them off. And that's when she knew I didn't have any head.
Which in today's world, that's amazing because most people just go to their phone and look up the numbers, you know.
The weird thing is I remember my daughter's number, but I really didn't know it at that time because I just always looked up her name.
Yeah.
Right.
My dad's number, I knew it right off.
Oh, yeah.
And the funeral home I knew, but
Right.
and then it seemed like it took forever for the ambulance to get there. But they finally made it. And my brother Brett came up, and he was trying to get my wallet out of my pocket, and I had my eyes closed at the time. I could feel somebody trying to get my wallet. I'm like, whoa, 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 leave it alone. And they're like, he's like, oh, you don't want me to take it? And I could hear it was my brother then. I'm like, oh, no, Brett. I'm like, no, go ahead. I'm like, that's fine.
Right.
And then the ambulance finally, they got the cot up there and stuff, and was messing with me and everything, and seeing who I was, because I know all the ambulance guys pretty much.
Right.
And they got me rolled over, and they were trying to keep me on my side because I didn't know how bad my leg was at the time.
Right.
But they just put a sheet underneath me and lifted me up and put me on the cot and put me inside. And I found out was looking, and I could feel my phone. I was feeling my pockets. And I could feel I had keys and my house keys in my one pocket, and I looked, I felt my phone was there. So I was like, well, I'll check it out. It still worked. So I told them, they were sitting there cutting off my clothes, everything. I said, while you're doing that, I'm going to make a couple of phone calls. I called my daughter, make sure, tell her I'm fine. They're taking me to the hospital. I called my father and said, hey, they'd already called him. I said, I'm fine. I'm going to be all right.
Right.
I said, don't worry and everything. And then I was telling you guys earlier, I remember the door opening to the back. And for the people who don't know what a J4 is, that's a death at a wreck.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure it was the highway patrolman. That the highway patrolman actually was on lunch. Had just got on lunch, but he was coming through the intersection at the time the accident happened.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it was him. He opens up the door. I hear him go, is this a J4? And I sat up, and I was like, hell no, I'm still alive. And I'm planning on staying alive.
Right.
I'm not going anywhere.
Don't be grabbing those toe tags yet.
Yeah. So it took them a little bit. They were trying to decide if they wanted to life flight me or not.
Right.
And I finally was like, guys, I said, I'm fine. It's like, by the time the helicopter gets down here, we could almost be up there.
Mm-hmm.
So they got me up, and I just remember hearing the sirens, but they gave me, I think it was ketamine, might have been morphine, but I don't remember anything up until about 4:30
Right.
or so when they got me in my room, and they had my leg all fixed up and everything. But and I had doctors and stuff in there. My daughter was there. Jeff Portman was there. He's been the godsend to me. He's been my best friend through all this,
Right.
and as my best friend. And my niece was there. Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. I do
That's
that.
No, that's understandable.
You've
But,
got a reason to.
But the doctors, all my doctors and surgeons were in there and stuff, and they talked to me and said they had me all fixed up, but they couldn't guarantee that my leg would be fine, that
Right.
I might have to amputate it. And they gave me several options, and they said, we need to know fairly quick what you want to do. So I thought about it most of that night and everything, and talked to my daughter and talked to my dad and talked to everybody. And later on that night, the nurse came in. I said, tell them I want to go ahead and do the surgery. And actually, this was Friday. I had all day Friday to think about it, and then they set it up, and that's when they took part of it above the knee a little bit, and then went back in the next day and took a little bit more because there was so much. I had so much debris and stuff from the gravel and the dirt
Right.
that they had to go in further. So, but they got it all cleaned up and everything, and God kept me around for a reason.
Right.
I'm still not sure
All right.
why yet, but it was a experience I thought I'd never
Oh yeah.
ever do.
Well, it was kind of like my wreck. You know, I'd heard ever since I got my bike, the old school bike riders are telling you, well, it's not a matter of if, but a matter of when you're going to have to lay it down. I would have liked to have the opportunity to lay it down.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you would have too.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you could have laid it down and got some road rash and avoided getting hit, that would have been great.
Yeah, it would have been fine, but it was a surreal experience. It's I wouldn't want anybody to ever go through that.
Right.
The simple fact that, you had the whereabouts to bring your arms up to protect your head.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from.
I mean, because they don't teach
Oh shit!
that.
I don't have a helmet on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they don't teach that in any of the motorcycle safety courses. That's they teach you always wear. Excuse me, always wear a helmet. And my buddy Wayne, or my brother Wayne, is what I'll call him because he is. Like I said earlier, he's above the knee amputee. From Afghanistan, and he's adapted his motorcycle, 2 wheels, to where he's able to ride. But he had mentioned it that he went to a place there in Rapid City, and they had a closeout sale on modular helmets. And I had a modular helmet for a short period of time, but it's always been half helmets for me.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I've started thinking about it. Maybe I need a modular helmet. A modular helmet is
Thank you.
It's a full face, but you can raise the front of it up.
The whole chin bar and everything.
You can raise it up, or
Okay.
you can get the ones that go all the way back to where it becomes a 3/4 helmet.
Oh, okay. I
See,
didn't mean to
that's-
interrupt your story.
I knew exactly. As soon as you said I'm like, I know what he's talking
I
about.
didn't want to, just
That's exactly what I had on during my wreck.
Yeah.
I just bought that helmet 3-4 months earlier.
Right.
And I really liked it, you know, and it probably saved my life because luckily they didn't turn into me like they did to you. They turned in front of me and I hit them and got launched off the bike.
Right.
But I seen my helmet afterwards and it looked like you took a grinder to the whole left side,
Right.
upper to it. The face shield itself, just the see-through part, it was gone. And there was gravel and stuff shoved up into the chin part of it.
Right.
You know, and I'm like going, oh, if I had my trooper helmet on, I'd be probably dead or a lot uglier than I am now. You know?
Is that possible?
Yeah. But, or, you know, or a vegetable,
True.
you know.
I mean,
I was lucky. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Now, were you wearing a jacket or?
no, I was working at the funeral home. I had khakis on. I had dress shoes on that were just, they weren't even tie-up shoes. They
Yeah.
were just loafers. Had them on. I had a dress shirt, or I don't even know if it was dress shirt. I think it was just a regular
Like a polo,
polo
or something.
shirt.
Yeah.
And from all that, I'm surprised I didn't have any like road rash on my arms or anything. It just
Damn.
on my knee.
You was
Yeah,
almost,
my glasses broke and popped off, and my shoes went flying. I guess because my brother handed me my shoes later.
He was
And I was
Terry
like-
Funk and the King of the Ring. He was the Hell in the Cell with Taker and Mankind.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was Terry Funk got kicked out of his shoes.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, because they went flying because my brother brought them up.
yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
So just a little bit better than them crotch racket guys that are wearing flip flops and shorts and
Yeah.
a tank top, but they got a full face helmet on.
Yeah,
Well, okay. So
Well, you know.
when I lived in Tennessee, I would see these dipshits wearing, and I say that because they would have their full face helmet. They would have a Joe Rocket jacket on, which has the armor and the arms and the shoulders back, yada, yada. But then they're wearing like gym shorts and flip flops.
Right.
Now, for those that do not ride a motorcycle, to shift a motorcycle, you've got to, you're using your toe to come up.
Right.
And I'm sorry. That
You could feel
shifting
it.
peg,
You could feel it good enough through boots.
and the fact that while you're riding, you've got bugs and everything else coming up and hitting your feet. No,
Yeah.
it's like guys I've seen on long road trips not wearing gloves, and it's like obviously you've never done this that often.
You never had that June bug hit your knuckle?
Yeah, at 70.
Burn
That's
bugs, you know,
or your
on your fingers.
forehead at
Yeah.
90 or 95. Yeah,
Well, see, that's the thing. You know, since they passed the law, you don't have to wear a helmet in
Yep.
Missouri. I'm thinking.
oh sorry.
I mean, I understand you riding without a helmet in town. You're thinking, I'm going to run up, get me something to eat, blah, 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 blah,
Yep.
come back. I'm not getting up to 60, 70, 80 miles an hour. But, you know what they say, shit happens closest to home.
Well, that's what I did. I mean, I was like in town. I never really worried about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'll be going slow enough.
Right.
I'm not going to worry about it. And then, bam.
Right.
The only time I've ever been without a helmet, I was in Sturgis, or actually Rapid City. But I was up there for the rally, and my buddy Wayne and I, he lived in Rapid, and we were far enough away from all the commotion
All the
of the
shit,
rally
yeah.
and everything. But we ran around, like around the corner to the store.
Right.
And that was the only that, and when I first got into Rapid, riding down to his house when he picked me up. Those are the only two times I've ever ridden, like really ridden, without a helmet. Now, moving it in and out of the garage or up and down the driveway, whatever. Yeah, okay.
Right.
Now, in 05, when I went to Sturgis, I had a helmet on till we got to Iowa. As soon as we got to Iowa, the other guy that was riding with me, we took him off. I never had it back on until Cedar Rapids when we were coming back. We had to stay the night there.
Yeah.
And we had to when we left that morning, it was supposed to rain. Well, they said it wasn't going to rain until like noon. So we're heading down the road. We get down not even 2 miles, and it just starts pouring down. So I actually had a full face helmet at that time with me just in case I needed it. But had a rain suit and stuff on, and my rain suit lasted about 2 more miles, and then it is brand new.
Yeah.
So I rode from there all the way back to Buffalo in pouring rain.
Right.
No,
It was the worst experience ever for that.
Yeah.
The rest of it was great.
Right.
When I lived in Tennessee, my dad came down from Camberton. He rode down to Tennessee and for Easter, and we hung out, and he left on Easter Sunday to head back up here. It was pouring fucking rain. Dad didn't believe in the motorcycle rain suits. No, he had that thick rubber, like bright yellow rain suits, and he had a half helmet at the time. And I'm like, you don't have to leave right now, Dad. I mean, you're retired. You can stay until the next day. I mean, we've got room.
You don't have the JOB to go back to.
Yeah, exactly. But he's like, no, I gotta head home.
The thing was the people that went with us, they took I had that gold Dodge 4-door pickup and stuff at the time. We took it along just in case, and we had a trailer just in case. And when we were going around, they were actually filming us, and as we were going around semis in the rain, they'd lose us.
Oh shit!
Going through there, and you could hear them going, "Oh shit! I hope they are upright when we get around."
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I wouldn't even do that now. I became a fair weather rider after that day.
Yep.
I was like, it's calling for a chance of just showers, sprinkles. Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah. I know. I never left this house in the rain. I'm like, fuck that. I have a car.
Yeah. Right.
But one time we went up to Boonville. My wife's sister and brother-in-law, they were renewing their vows. It was a gorgeous Saturday. It was like 70 degrees, just perfect weather, no wind, you know.
Perfect riding, rather.
And so we rode the bike up. Woke up the next morning, it's freaking raining. It's like, damn it. And I didn't have any rain gear, but I had a leather jacket. And once your jeans get wet,
you're done.
it doesn't hurt as bad.
Oh,
but when they're dry and you take it off, man, do you feel that sting on your shins? Because I was on a Sportster. I mean, I have no fairings or nothing, you know. And
which is funny all on its own because you're a big dude on a Sportster.
it's what I could afford at the time.
I got it. I understand.
And before my wreck, that plan that summer was a Heritage Softail.
Ooh.
Yeah. I just always loved the look of a Heritage Softail.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the old style. I mean, even though they're hard bags, but they look like the old soft bags with the studs and stuff, you know, and that's what I was going to get. But anyway, we rode back from Boonville, which I got out on I-70. And you're having to run 70, 75 mile an hour just to keep up. It's like, this fucking hurts. Luckily, I had a windshield on it. Half helmet, goggles. And so it was like, if you take this road here, you'll cut off. Actually, we were in Boonville, but anyway, we cut off, got on a 2-lane road. I could run 45, 50 mile an hour. Rain didn't hurt that bad. And I was like, well, this is better. And I told the wife, she was on the back, and I said, well, at least you're not getting that wet. She goes, bullshit. Every time you slow down for one of these corners, it runs off your back right into my crotch.
It never failed. Anytime I was riding, I would always run into rain, and that's when I would put my rain suit on.
Right.
After I'm already fucking soaked, when I finally find a spot to pull over or whatnot.
You might as well just keep going at that point.
Yeah. Well, when I lived in Tennessee, my ex and I, we were at a buddy's place, and I look out his back door, and I see a storm on the fucking horizon. And it was a bad fuck. I mean, it was like
The bad mama jamma.
like 2 o'clock in the afternoon in Tennessee in August.
Oh, okay.
The horizon, black.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and it's like, oh shit, babe, we gotta go if we're gonna miss this, because we were outside of town. By the time we got back to the house, my back is dry, her front is dry because she's sucked up against me. Everything else completely soaked.
Right.
She did hop off the bike as soon as we got in the driveway because I didn't have garage door openers, and she got out, opened up the garage door so I could just pull the bike straight in, and yeah, I mean we were completely soaked, and it turned out to be a great afternoon. Nice warm shower afterwards, but that's for a different podcast.
Well, our trip, we stopped in Warsaw because I need a break. And we're meeting guys, no windshields, the little skull cap helmets and stuff, just...
Yeah.
It was like, okay. So we stopped in Warsaw. I was like, okay, I need a break. And went and got something to drink, went and peed and all that stuff. Well, it quit raining.
Yeah.
And hopped back on the bike. And by the time we got home, the sun had came out and everything was dry except our socks and underwear.
My buddy Travis came down to Tennessee. This was June of 12, and we rode back up to Kansas City. Came across the Boot Hill, southern Missouri. July. Hit a fucking hailstorm. I'm wearing a t-shirt and a vest and a half helmet.
Oh boy.
I did have a face mask on. I was sucking the water through the face mask and letting it dribble out of my mouth just so I could fucking breathe. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Chinese water torture, fuck you. Ride through a hailstorm.
Right.
It got to a point where I was like maybe 20 feet behind a dump truck. There was no overpasses, and all I could see was his LED taillights.
Right.
That's the only thing that kept me going. And I'm like, this fucking sucks. And we sat at a McDonald's for like 2 hours when we finally got out of it to try to dry off.
Right. I done that same close follow of a semi truck coming back from Cape Girardeau from the State Hog Rally, just because just before we got to Springfield, the sun was setting. And it was right over the road, right in my face. I could not see shit. And I got behind this semi, and I got in his shadow. And I sat there, I was like, I don't like this. I don't like this at all, but I can stop quicker than he can. As soon as I see brake lights, I just had my fingers up on the brakes and the clutch. And,
You got all that wash coming off of it?
But I was in the calm zone.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I broke through the wash part. And I was up in it felt like I was running 35 mile an hour.
Right.
And we were running 70, 75, whatever. And it's like.
So in NASCAR terms, you were drafting.
I was drafting. Yeah, it was kind of the sweet spot, but it was just really uncomfortable being that close to the back of a fucking semi. But,
okay. Yeah, I get it.
But I could see at that point. All
right. So you decided to have the surgery.
Yep.
What happened next?
Just did recuperation there at the hospital for, I think I was in there from that Thursday to another week, and then it was a Monday, the next Monday, whatever that was. But it was a full week, and then that Monday, probably a week and a half, and they sent me to rehab facility. And when they sent me there, they did their evaluation at first, and they said, well, you'll probably be here for a couple weeks. Well, I did so well that blew through everything. They said, well, 5 days, you're done.
Cool.
So I decided before that in the hospital that when I got to come home, I was going to stay at my father's because it was going to be easier at the time. Just family-wise, could come. And if I needed anything, and my father was going to help me and stuff. So, stayed there up until this last Sunday is finally when I moved back to my own house.
Yeah.
And
I bet it was dusty as shit, wasn't it?
Now, actually, my daughter and her friend that she works with, they actually went out the week before.
Oh, nice.
And dusted everything and did all that. So my daughter has been a godsend to me through this whole thing too.
Mhm.
Stuff that she didn't need to ever have to go through at
Right.
the age I am now. So
Right.
just never thought that would happen.
On the bright side, she didn't have to wipe your butt.
True. I had the nurses do that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, when my brother had his motorcycle wreck,
Mhm.
and he's like, bro, can you help me take a shower? I'm like, dude, I am not washing your junk. I know we're blood and we're brothers and everything, but I ain't washing your junk. Because he went through a corner sign. Like as you're going through the corners, you got the black and yellow signs.
Mhm.
Yeah, he went through one of those.
Oh shit!
Paramedics on the scene said had it not been for his Joe Rocket jacket, he would have lost his life. But it almost tore out his clavicle. He had, up until a couple of years ago, 2 titanium rods in his left arm, where his arm had came up and hit the sign. He had broke his wrist, but he was wearing a full face helmet, crotch rocket. Didn't have his license. Fucking moron. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. Yeah, fucking dipshit. But yeah, I mean, he had on a pair of swim trunks and had his left arm in a garbage bag and his right hand in a Ziploc bag, and he's just like, I can't put my arms down.
Christmas story time.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, that's something that I don't wish on anybody. And I'm very glad that I didn't have to do that with my mom.
Right.
Yeah.
So glad. And I've got to commend your daughter. We're gonna give her a little for not having to wipe your butt.
Yep. When I was in the hospital that week and a half, that first time, all my modesty went out the window.
Oh yeah.
I had so many nurses coming in doing stuff. I was like, I don't even care anymore. I'm like, I don't care. Just go ahead. Yeah.
Well, that's like I was telling you earlier. You know,
what you gotta
they
do.
cut all my clothes off of me on the side of the road
Yeah.
because I was bleeding from somewhere. And I'm like, I'm bleeding from my mouth because I bit my lip or something. You know. They're like, no, there's blood somewhere else, so they cut it off. Well, I had a punctured perineum. So yeah, every day in the hospital. Of course, they'd done surgery on that first. My foot they couldn't do surgery on because it was too swelled up. Because my calcaneus, they call it, the heel bone was broken like 3 different places. But they had to wait on that. But anyway, every morning, female, male, whatever, doctors come in, lift my junk. Yep, that's looking good. They had me on a puppy pee pad. Basically, is what it was because it had to drain.
Yep.
You know, it was like, okay. But the funniest story was when they took the stitches out. See, I was in the hospital 3 weeks. Well, when they took the stitches out, they come in the room. It was 2 nurses and 2 nurses' aides. And this one nurse's aide looked a lot like Danica Patrick. And she was a sweetheart. I'd call her to get my medicine or whatever. But anyway, they had my legs up like I'm getting ready to give birth. They got a flashlight. And my wife's down there at the end of the deal. And this one nurse goes, "Could you hold them up out of the way?" And this little
I have a
Danica,
catcher's mitt.
yeah, this little Danica Patrick looking girl, she reaches down and grabs my nutsack and holds it up so they can see to get to these stitches. And I'm going, I'm going to find out if this thing works still or not. And the wife goes, "Sweetheart, this is the closest you're ever going to get to a threesome." But then they found a stitch and all them good thoughts went away.
Well, when I was in there, I they had me on so many pain meds.
Right.
I was having trouble going to the bathroom, and I was I was actually getting sick. I was like vomiting and stuff. And they finally, this one nurse, I can't even think of what her name is offhand, but she was, and back then they had to wear the mask and stuff and everything. But blonde hair, she's adorable as could be.
Right. She might have been snaggletooth, but you couldn't tell it.
Yeah. But she come in one day and she goes, well, if you can't go to the bathroom, we're going to have to give you a suppository. I'm like, okay. Well, I couldn't. So she comes in, gives it to me and stuff. I didn't think anything about it. Well, go to November, I had a major infection in my residual limb is what they call it. I call it a stump. But they had to go in and clean all that out. Well, I was in the hospital for 18 days. They had me on IV antibiotics every 6 hours. Took 30 minutes to do.
Right.
But I had it every 6 hours. So I had to stay in the hospital for 18 days.
Right.
Because it was 14 days of these antibiotics. Well, they had me in one room. I was in a private room for the first week. And then they came in on a Sunday and said, well, and I don't know if it was insurance-wise or if they were short-staffed or what.
Right.
They moved me to a different room. And it happened to be that was late night on a Sunday. Well, the next day, this blonde girl comes in. I had like 3 or 4 nurses that came in that time. Oh, remember you from when you were here in August? I'm like, oh, okay. Right. Well, the blonde comes in. And I knew she looked familiar. And she goes, oh, yeah, you were in room whatever. And I was like, yeah. She goes, yeah, I was the one that gave you suppository. I'm like, oh. Are you kidding me? Of course, that's the way she remembers me.
Oh, I missed you. Thank you for showing up.
Yeah.
She's like, roll over. Yep, that's you.
Yeah.
He turns into Sean William Scott from Road Trip. Did I say 2 fingers?
Oh,
Make
yeah.
it 3.
Nope.
Oh, wow.
Well, that was like when they got me to the hospital, this doctor, or actually he was a nurse, he comes in and he goes, now I need to check and make sure you don't have any bone fragments and stuff. And I'm like, okay. Finger, right up the old butt, you know. Then it seemed like 5 minutes later, hell, it might have been an hour later. I don't know, because I was pretty high on morphine at the time. He comes back in. He's like, well, I need to check your prostate now. And I'm thinking, you were just in there. Couldn't you have done that at the same time?
I mean, really, come on.
It's like, his finger, I swear to God, was that wide.
You had to just check a different spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. It never fails.
Use your pinky next time.
When
And there wasn't no caressing. It was just, boom.
when I was getting out of the Army and I had to go get a physical through our PA, and this guy was Green Beret, former Green Beret, airborne dive, yada yada, blah blah blah, and he had sausage fingers, and I thought I was gonna be cute because he's like, "Oh, you're over 40. Have you had your over 40 physical?" And I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Okay, well, here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna bend over this table, and you're gonna drop your trowel, and I'm gonna check your prostate." And I'm like, "Okay." So I do all that, and I'm trying to be funny, and I'm like, "So how about that weather?" And he's like, "Don't make it awkward, dude." And I swear it's like big sauce, like Eckrich Farm summer sausage fingers just goes, and I'm like, "Ugh!" And then you spend the rest of the day trying to get the lube or whatever out of your butt cheek. You're just like, walking around, what the hell? But,
Well, at least he didn't have both hands on your shoulders when he done the examination.
Yeah. So glad about that. But then again, I mean, I think I would have been a little
Just
bit more,
relax.
Yes. I think I would have had, just a little bit more problem with a cute little blonde saying, "Oh, yeah."
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. I kind of, my mom was funny. Every time she'd with the doctor, she hated it when she had a male nurse. She'd rather have a female nurse. I'm like going, not me. If I've got people prodding around in those areas, I'd rather it be a female. I'm more comfortable with that. You know.
Yeah. Mom, do you know how much money I've spent in Nevada for stuff like this? Wait. Oh, no, wait. Wrong place. Yeah. Okay. So, what did they find out about that infection?
It was in the family of tuberculosis.
Okay.
It was from the gravel and the dirt that the debris that I had in me. So from now on, if I hear some parents say, just rub some dirt in it when their child gets hurt, I'm saying no,
don't do
please
that.
don't do that.
Yep.
It's not a good thing to do anymore. It was just I don't know what contamination it was, but I had the
On that side of the road there in
Yeah, I
Buffalo, it could be meth.
Yeah, I know.
Or, you know.
yeah. There's no telling. I don't really even want to think about that. But
You're lucky you didn't have a needle in you or something.
yeah, I know. But it was in the family of tuberculosis. It wasn't tuberculosis.
Right.
But I had a bad cough, and I just thought it was allergies. And then my blood pressure spiked, and I was having high fevers. And my primary doctor was wanting to put me on blood pressure medicine. I was like, well, I said, I've never had a problem up until now. And then she had put me on a antibiotic for the infection, but we just didn't know how bad it was. The next day was when I went back to my surgeon, and he seen that I had high blood pressure and a fever and stuff. And he actually looked at my leg and it felt warm. And there was like 3 different spots where I had major infection at.
Okay.
And that's when he goes, we need to do a CT scan on you and check that, and then we'll go from there. But he goes, I'm pretty sure we're going to have to do surgery again on you. And went and did a CT scan, and the next thing I know, he calls me. And he says, yep. He goes, we're going to have to do this. So I went and did blood work that day, and then the next day I went back up and did it all over again, the surgery, and then was in there for 18 days. So,
Wow.
but luckily they caught it and stuff. And
Right.
and he said, he goes, hopefully this will take care of it, and the antibiotics will take care of it. I've got to do them for till May.
Right.
But he said if for some reason that doesn't do it and it comes back, keeps coming back, that they may have to take more off my residual limb
Okay.
at some point.
Wow.
But he thinks that this is going to take care of it.
Right.
So, which I hope for.
Oh, yeah.
I already got my leg, so I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Right.
That was another thing. Yeah, I go, so how far is this going to set me back and get my leg? He said 2 months. I was like, nope. I said, that's not going to happen. It's like, I've already been to the prosthetic place. I said,
Yeah.
I'm doing this. And I think I was maybe 3 weeks behind
Right.
on everything. But I got my prosthetic, and I'm slowly but surely learning it. I mean, I'm still using a walker, which sucks, but I'm getting better at it.
Right.
It's better than not walking at all.
Oh, yeah.
If I had my computer here, I would show you a picture of my buddy Wayne when they fitted him with his very first prosthetic, and he was walking with a cane, and he hiked his shorts up to about up underneath his pecs, and he pulled his upper lip up over his or his bottom lip up over his top lip, and I mean he just looked like fucking hey little boys, you want some candy? I mean, and through it all, Wayne was, I mean, he kept his spirits and everything like that. And I mean, it's much like your motorcycle accident, something you never thought would ever happen.
Mm.
And I mean, up into that point, because he was in his 20s, young, bulletproof, nothing's going to stop me now. And then all of a sudden this, and
Try when you're 50.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, and I'm sure the doctors have told you the same thing, but it's like, you can't do this, or you'll never do this. And I mean, they told you would spend 2 weeks in physical therapy. You spent 5 days.
Yeah.
And I mean, it just shows that, there's that, lack of a better term, that testicular fortitude,
He didn't lose his testicles.
right.
He still got those.
Yeah.
So he still got the testicular fortitude.
Right. Well, but there's people that don't
Right.
have
Oh, I know.
testiculars.
I know what you meant, but I just
But it's like the moment somebody tells you, "Oh, well, you can't do this, you won't be able to do this," and you've shown that, go take a long walk off a short pier, or in redneck fashion, hold my beer and watch this.
Yeah.
Because you've shown and you've proven that you are able to overcome all of the shit that's not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Shit that you're not supposed to be able to do.
That first time I was in the hospital after the accident, I had one bad night that I was like, didn't know what was going to happen, anything. I just got really down on myself. The next morning I woke up and I'm like, what in the hell am I doing? And I'm like, I am better than that. I'm like, I'm not going to let this get me down.
right.
And that's when I started with all the inspirational stuff on Facebook
Right.
every day, just to keep everybody up and
Right.
everything. Because by then I was bound and determined I was going to get me down. I was going to be able to walk and
Right.
everything and be good. And that was one thing I was really loved, was when I was talking to prosthetic people. Most of the time when you start out, I mean, it depends, but most of the time when you start out with a prosthetic, they just have a standard prosthetic, which
Right.
is when you stand up, your knee locks, and then you're walking like you're a peg leg.
Right. Right.
But my prosthetic people, which I let them still think it, they said, well, you're really athletic. Okay, I'll let you think I'm athletic.
Yeah, I run marathons.
Yeah, they're
and,
like, you'll be able
play
to run. You'll be
softball
able to
every weekend.
run again and do all this. It's like, I never ran before. Like, like you were talking.
Right,
but yeah,
right.
I was like, yeah, I'm not a runner. I'm like, if somebody's chasing me, I will stop and let them do whatever they want to me.
Yeah.
I'm not doing the whole chasing thing
I
anymore.
always say, if you see me running, you better start hauling ass. 'Cause
Yeah.
something bad is
There's a
coming.
problem.
Yeah, yeah.
I generally
That's
carry
why I carry a gun.
yeah, I generally carry enough ammo to where I ain't running from shit, except Cocaine Bear. Cocaine Bear? Yeah, I'm done. I'm gone because I carry a 9mm.
Well,
and,
you only gotta run faster than the person next to you.
right, but if you're on your own,
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that because I went through a little of that. And it didn't really, while I was in the hospital and everything, because it was like they were checking on you constantly.
Yeah.
And then they had me doing rehab in the hospital just to get up and get out of bed and everything.
Yeah, they did that to me too.
Because it was funny. The first morning, girl comes in, get me out of bed, and I'm thinking, I can't even freaking roll over. How am I going, But she got me up and everything, and the wife, she was just sitting there amazed. Because she wasn't a big girl.
yeah,
And after she left, she goes, after she got me back into bed and everything, because she just wanted me to get up and stand up. I can't put no weight on my entire left side of my body, but
right.
I got to stand up.
Yeah.
Okay. Got back down in bed, and Ann's like, I can't believe that. Said, if she hadn't looked like Jennifer Aniston, you'd have probably punched her in the face. I'm like, I didn't even realize that. But she was cute, but
Yeah.
but she got my big ass out of bed. But after I got home, and Ann got to going back to work because she broke her foot before, but then she got cleared to go back to work and everything. And I'm sitting there by myself watching TV going, am I going to be able to work again?
Yeah.
Because, my job, I can't do it from home behind a computer or nothing. I fix cars. I do body work. And I'm like, am I ever going to be able to work again? Am I going to be able to provide for my family? Those thoughts just coming.
Yeah.
But what kind of got me out of that was Kevin hired a guy to fill in for me while I was gone, Davey Fielder.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And he called me one day. He's like, "Hey, how do you mix this primer? Blah blah blah." And I told him, "Okay, this is it's 4 to 1 to 1, whatever." About the 6th time he called me that day, I said, "PPG, helpline. What do you need?" But it got my mind off of my shit. I was like, "Okay, I'm actually doing something here."
Right.
That kind of helped me. And then, like say, when Gary brought that little motorized chair where I could actually go outside and I could go down. My mom still lived down there in the trailer house. I could go down and visit with her. Then once I got to where I could use crutches, I could go up and eat lunch with her and stuff. And that just, because I was off work 6 months.
Oh yeah.
From May to October. And when I went back, I was less than 100% for sure.
Yeah.
Had a cane. Whenever the foot got to hurting, it's like, okay, grab the cane.
Well, right after I got out of rehab, the first time, I waited a little bit, but I started going back to work a few days a week, and just a few hours a day because I was still really tired. I think that may have been the infection still,
Right.
because I'd go in like at 8, 9 o'clock and stay until about noon. Well, when I get home or get back to Dad's, they moved a bed down there in the living room for me. I'd sleep for 6, 7 hours after I got done, and that's not normal. I mean,
Right.
Right.
But hopefully I'll get back to where I can go back to work. It's going to be quite a while before I'll be able to do the embalming part again, because I just don't know if I'll be able to stand that long for a while.
It's a slow build because, I mean, your major injury was your leg, but your whole body's affected by it.
Oh yeah, like I said, I mean, I got rotator cuff problems I found out about.
Right. Well, just from being inactive.
Yeah.
The strength. It'll take a while to build the strength back in your good leg.
Yeah.
And the rest of your body, and it's just. Then some days, I mean, you might be doing fine, and then one day you'd be like going, "I need to fucking sit down."
Yep. Yeah.
I
have one other story.
Yeah.
I found out a month after my accident, I went back to the surgeon, and I was like, my right foot didn't feel right. Like my last 2 toes seemed numb, and they actually sewed my pinky toe. I think I about lost my pinky toe on my right foot.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They had stitches in it, and
But yeah, because you're wearing dress shoes on a motorcycle.
yeah. So, hey, I was hip. Come on.
Yeah.
Too hip to be square. But, so I said, "Did you check my foot when I came in?" He said, "No, we were more worried about your leg." I was like, "Well, something's not right." So he goes, "Well, we'll go do x-rays." And I'm like, "Okay." Well, the lady takes me back to the x-ray booth and does the x-ray. She goes to get them. I hear her go, "Ooh." I'm like, "Well, that doesn't sound very well." And she didn't tell me anything. Well, we go back to the room, and he comes and goes, "Yeah, you got 3 broken toes."
Oh,
It was the one next to my big toe, and then my last 2 toes were broke. And you could see it. I mean, when I had my shoes off and my sock off, I mean, you could tell because my pinky toe is all bent in now.
Right.
But there wasn't anything they could do about it.
No, there ain't shit.
And
they can do about it.
the top of my foot was black and blue from it. But like I said, I was lucky. I mean, it could have been.
Oh yeah.
I could be a vegetable for
yeah.
all that.
Or just DRT.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I mean, it was. Good Lord kept me around. I mean, it's.
So a year after my wreck, there was a storm coming in, and Kevin told me, he said he'd went back to his house to let his daughter and son-in-law into the basement. And he calls me, he said, "You better head north. There's a tornado and halfway heading towards Buffalo." It's like, okay. Well, my wife worked at Superior Gearbox. Well, I tried to call her. Cell phones weren't working. Nothing. Well, I knew they had a shelter there. So I head north. I'm in a Toyota Celica. It's blowing me all over the road. Rain's just freaking pouring. All I can see is the line on 65. I get to Lewisburg. I'm like, there's no lines on 64. I can't see to get to the house. So I pulled in at the old gas station up there. There's the old car wash. I was like, I'll pull into the car wash. Well, I pull up there, and there's all kinds of junk and shit piled in that car wash. I'm like, fuck. So I pull around over on the east side because everything's coming from the west. And I'm sitting there in the car, and it's doing this. It's just moving and shit. And I'm like, dear Lord, you didn't take me last year in that motorcycle wreck. I haven't done shit this year to warranted you not taking me then, so please don't take me now. You know, that was when it flooded across 65 there at the Shrine Club.
Oh yeah,
It looked like frickin' Palm de Terre River going across 65 there.
Wow.
Yeah, I had never seen that flood there like
yeah, I
that.
remember that.
Damn.
Yeah, it was.
So, what are they saying? Like, how long are you going to be on the? You think, or how long did they think that you'll be on the walker?
It just depends.
Okay.
They said, and I've had so much. They said it depends on what is going on in life,
Mm-hmm.
and which, so that depends on how much you use it and stuff. I'm getting a little bit better. They adjusted stuff yesterday,
Right.
and everything. You know, I seem to be walking quite a bit better. And I seem to be walking a lot better with my walker. I've got a cane at home.
Mm-hmm.
That way, if I'm like in the kitchen, I can use a cane,
Right.
there and stuff, and everything. But I'm hoping a couple months I'll be where I won't be using anything at all. Hopefully sooner than that. But
Right.
It just depends.
So you said your prosthetic has hydraulics and everything in it?
It's got my knee has 4 microprocessors in it and a hydraulic system in it, and that helps coordinate with everything. And it's got a little.
So is there like pads up in the part that goes over your stump that reads the muscle?
No, there's a gel liner that I've got on. It's got this, they call it a lanyard deal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I attach everything. And then I've got a deal up here that I tighten that tightens the back.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So it stays on good. It's supposed to, actually my knee is supposed to be waterproof. I could swim for like 30 minutes. They don't want me in salt water.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm in chlorine water, as soon as I get out, I'm supposed to clean it off with regular water.
Mm-hmm. But what I was
Okay,
wondering
wait.
is there anything on your stump?
No, like electronic wise, no.
Okay.
Yeah, no, there's nothing there.
So you're not allowed to be in salt water,
They said I can, but not for
Yeah.
very long.
and you can't be in chlorine for very long. So
Pond water's better.
yeah, that's what I'm taking from this.
Pub tear.
Palm de Terre.
Yeah. Palm de Terre and Lake of the Ozarks is your best bet.
Yeah. So, but I doubt I ever swim in my stuff anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
and I'm glad it's waterproof enough that like if I'm out in the rain,
Mm-hmm.
I won't have to worry about it and stuff. So,
Nice.
but yeah, I mean it's doing good. It just right now they think I've got a hydraulic leak after only a month, which they said it's usually about a year to 2 years when that happens. But
So all of you tens of listeners that we have, if you have an AMF Harley Davidson sticker, please send it to us. Leave us a comment and we'll get to you. So Merle can put it on his prosthetic. So because much like Harleys and small block Chevys, they don't leak. They mark their territory. On that note, I would like to thank.
Well, I got one more. I got one more big question.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Are you going to make Rocklahoma this year?
I'm not sure. If I had to have this accident last year, I probably would have tried to go.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to go,
Mm-hmm.
and it's in September now,
Right.
so it's a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
Weather's a lot better. I'm waiting to see what the lineup is actually.
Right.
I think it comes out March 6th.
Right. Because I know you have missed one for a while.
Yeah, this last year was the first year that I had gone since 2013.
Right.
I had gone every year up till last year.
Now, I'm just going to throw this out there. With your current and permanent condition, you have the best tickets available to you.
Well,
I'm just saying. I'm not saying you need to use them. I'm just
not
saying.
Rocklahoma is a different cat, though. They don't have like ADA sections, and well, actually they do. Take that back, but it's up a ways from the stage. They have an area for handicapped areas.
Right. But now the concerts that I've seen advertised up in the big city of Kansas City and whatnot, ADA doesn't have the perfect, like, closest seats,
Yeah.
but they have access backstage.
True.
They have better access to the artists than everybody else does.
And they're probably closer to the bathrooms.
I'm just saying. I mean, now, when we went to the Midland and we saw Anthrax and Black Label Society, the balcony was the best seats.
Mm-hmm.
There's just all there was to it.
Yeah, because we're too old to be in the pit anymore.
Very true. Oh, shit. So, okay. Guns N' Roses just announced their new tour, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. They're playing Kauffman Stadium in September, and I saw the 88 section. Merle, you want to go see Guns N' Roses?
Oh yeah, I'll go.
But I mean, yeah, and I'm clearly making jokes here. I'm making light of it because I've seen Chris has posted several times when him and Brandon have been to WWE in St. Louis or whatnot, and they've always had great unobstructed seats, and they've gotten to meet the different wrestlers and everything. I just I got to make jokes because I'm a sick and twisted.
I make fun of myself all the time. I mean, there's no other way. I mean, you could sit there and be a person that's like hates it and all that, but I mean, I make one-legged jokes all the time.
My brother Wayne, we would be sitting there talking on the phone, and I'm like, "Hey, bro, I got to hop off here. I got to go do this." And he's like, "Oh, hop off here?
Yeah.
What is that, a one-legged joke?" And I'm like, "You son of a bitch."
So you go to the IHOP and see an Eileen.
Now, there's a guy on TikTok, Josh Soderquist, I think it is, and he had a rare form of cancer, and he was like not above the knee. They went like straight to the hip and took his leg at a young age. And his Halloween costumes have been like
I've seen him.
he's done the Pixar, the lamp and everything, and he's had the blow up balloons, and he's like
He's the Christmas story lamp too.
Yeah, the Christmas story lamp, a flamingo. He's done a Christmas tree on a street. Yeah, just standing on the street as a Christmas tree and freaking the fuck out of people. The IHOP sign. Yeah.
My neighbor over here, he's from Louisiana. He got that thick Cajun accent. He's missing an arm.
Yeah.
And no shoulder, nothing that, And after I got to know him a little better one day, I asked him, I was like, so how'd you lose your arm? And he had bone cancer.
Yeah.
And he told me, I was like, Alvin, you from Louisiana. Could you have told a better story than that? Like you was alligator hunting and the motherfucker took your arm? He goes, oh, Dad, that would have been a good story.
When Wayne was at Bethesda, he became friends with a wounded Marine, and they would go to the mall, and they would make up different stories every single time. The best one that always got him the chicks was the Marine was being attacked by a shark, and Wayne saved his life but lost his leg in the process. And I mean, because Wayne left leg is gone. This dude is like his right leg and his right arm.
Right.
I'm wanting to say he was EOD or something like that. I don't know. I don't know the exact story. But, I mean, they totally played it up. And every time they went out, it was a different story.
Right.
A shark attacked me. I was saving him, and I tripped on a railroad track. Or, you know, just he was being attacked by a bear, and I went in there. But, I mean, and it's that sort of thing that, like, you have seen, and I've seen on some of your Facebook posts, like I don't know, Merle senior picture and Kiefer Sutherland from Lost Boys side by side, separated at birth. I don't know. But
It's kind of like my escalator jokes.
Yeah.
He hadn't heard that story yet.
No. But I am glad that you are good, that you survived, and you've got your positive attitude. And once again, I have to thank you for being the chauffeur to the Skid Row Pantera show in 1992 at Lampe, Missouri. That was an amazing show, even though we pulled up playing Firehouse. But
Love of a Lifetime?
No. They had a song on the album that had an amazing bass beat. And Merle had that Grand Prix with those 212s in the back, and I mean, it hit hard. And we pull up to the show in Lampe, blasting that, and it was just like, yeah, that's fucking awesome. And I don't even think I made it to like Springfield before I was like, pass the fuck out. I mean,
Those are some good times we had back then.
It was, and again, I am so glad that you're good. You've kept your high spirits, and on behalf of the tens of J&M Solve the World followers, we would like to thank you for coming on. And that note, you've just listened to another episode of Stu Him Productions Presents
J&M Solve the World. I have been James.
And I've been Matt. And on behalf of Merle and Andy, you keep one fist in the gold, one foot in the gutter, and we will be seeing you.
Peace.